on an extra point, made an earlier field goal. And this one is right through. So with 1:25 on the clock here in the first half, we've seen a couple of field goals in addition to 4 touchdowns scored by the offense. So if people wanted to see some more offense out of the Gators, they're certainly seeing that here in the first half. Coming up at halftime, a couple days ago, I had a chance to visit with Coach Kurt Roper about this Gator offense. So you'll get some of his insights into what they're trying to do and how they're going about it. We'll talk about the first half and what we saw. And we'll also hear from Coach DJ Durkin, who will visit with Jessica Blaylock. That's all coming up at halftime here on the Orange and Blue debut, presented by Sunnyland. So they'll start from the 35, play a little 2-minute drill perhaps, as Driscoll is back in. Driscoll sets and fires, a little comeback route. Caught by Fullwood, and he is spun back, but this will be an 8-yard gain. Good Antonio Morrison in there on the play.
Dawson on the coverage.
Duke Dawson from Cross City, Dixie County High School, to our west and south. Throws it wide to the flat, and Dunbar makes the catch, gets out of bounds with the first down as he broke it off in front of the freshman corner, Jalen Tabor.
Good strength on that throw that time by Jeff Driscoll, because that was a long pass coming from the left hash all the way to the right sideline.
Those are passes that kind of scare you because they're in the air so long.
Oh, yes.
But a good connection. The kind you need in a 2-minute drill. Move the chains and stop the clock. 2 for 2. Call a running play for Mac Brown, and there's nothing much there. Defense all over the play. Brian Cox Jr. disrupted it. Antonio Morrison and Dawson ended up making the tackle.
What's interesting watching this chess match with DJ Durkin and Kurt Roper, because, you know, that time they showed a little man coverage, pre-snap read, and then right before the snap of the ball, they rotated out into a zone. Had everybody looking at the quarterback. Chance to react up and make a play.
Well, that's the thing. They'll set the rules, and then the rules kind of change during the course of spring. And one of the big ones is if the offense is having too much success, the defensive coaches are going to ignore some of those rules.
No, we're just going to not ignore. We're just going to break the rules. You know, that's what we do on defense. You know, we attack things. We don't stick to it.
DJ Dirk, a good guy, excellent coach. Has a lot of young talent to work with for the Gators. And some guys you're not seeing today. Dante Fowler hasn't played. Leon Orr hasn't played. Both starters up front. Driscoll with all kinds of running room, and they finally decide that's far enough. But they'll give him credit for about 18 yards.
Yeah, but what an outstanding job this offensive line. It's about chemistry when you start talking offensive line, and they're doing a nice job of passing things along and making sure that they take care of blocking the most dangerous guy.
And what's there now is the likely starting offensive line, I think, come fall, with Trenton Brown, the big fella, moving inside at right guard. Chaz Green, DJ Humphreys, the tackles. Brown joined by Tyler Moore at guard, Max Garcia at center. And then Trip Thurman, probably kind of the sixth starter, the guy that you would turn to next no matter who happened to go down.
Well, he can play either guard, tackle, or center. You know, Trip has shown, being the second center with the second unit, that he can play that position as well. So a lot of times you want to get your best 5 athletes on the field with a guy that you know can replace everybody, and Tripp being that guy, you sure don't want to take a chance on getting him hurt.
After that, you would look to guys like Cameron Dillard as a possible center. Harkless, we've talked about a tackle, and Drew Sarvery and Antonio Riles as guard candidates for this Gator offensive line this fall. Less than 30 till halftime, and Dunbar cannot stay in bounds around the 20-yard line. It's one of those where I think if you land up your right foot first, you might have been in, but his left foot hit before the right foot came down.
Well, you just like to see your receivers give your quarterback a little bit more room to fit it in. Sometimes you're so tight to the sideline. When you look at, unlike professional football, when you look at college, the numbers are much wider, as well as the hash marks are.
22 seconds till halftime. Driscoll's got a wide open Dunbar. 15, 10, and out of bounds around the 7-yard line, where it'll be first and goal with 15 seconds to play.
And that's just being aware of the situation by Dunbar. He could have tried and turn it up and get into the end zone, but you know what? You get out of bounds, preserve some time on the clock. Now you got a chance to get 2 or 3 more plays in.
21 yards on the play for the senior wide receiver out of Miami's Booker T. Washington High School, Quentin Dunbar. Gators go 4 wide on first down. Have no idea about timeouts remaining, in case you're curious. Driscoll keeps. He'll run out of bounds. No gain, and used up 5 seconds.
Once again, you talk about decision making. At that point, just throw the ball away. You're outside the pocket, throw it away, stop the clock, give yourself more time to work with. You know, if you're not going to try and pound it in, which, you know, he had nowhere he can go with the football, you got to just throw it away and preserve some time on the clock.
Robinson, Fullwood, Dunbar in at wide receiver for this play. They've got the tight end Goolsby in as well as Mac Brown. They showed run. Now they throw it into the corner. Well covered. Nowhere to go at all as Jalen Tabor just cut off Dunbar.
Well, he just beat him to the point and made sure he kept vision, not just on the wide receiver, but also what's going on in the backfield.
And with 5 seconds to go, looks like another field goal try.
And that's
run a fake.
But you know, that's what you would call a win for the defense. You get down here and you force them to have to sell for a field goal. That's a great stop by the defensive unit.
Arden trying for his 3rd straight field goal, and he's got it. And that'll get us to intermission here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida Field. The orange and blue debut presented by Sunnyland here on Sun Sports as the Florida Gators wrap up spring practice. They head to the locker room for a little break. We've got our halftime coming up, and then more action from the Swamp. Keep it right here as we continue with our coverage of the orange and blue debut presented by Sunnyland on Sun Sports. We are back at the Swamp in Gainesville for the orange and blue debut presented by Sunnyland. Just about to start the second half. We talked a lot of offense during our first half highlights, but there was some defense out there as well. For more on that, back down to the field to Jessica.
All right, thanks, Larry. Coach, from the start of spring practice to where you are today, where do you feel like your defense has taken the biggest steps forward?
Yeah, I like where our guys have. We had a lot of young guys playing in spots. They really learned the scheme, and we're trying to get out of it. I feel good about that. And I just think our guys are getting more comfortable in their roles and what they're being asked to do.
You mentioned the young guys. There's a lot of them fighting for playing time. Who showed up today and made an impression?
I think overall throughout the spring, I mean, you look at the young DBs we brought in, like Jalen Tabor, Duke Dawson. They've really made strides to say they can play this year and help us. You know, Daniel McMillan at linebacker is a guy who hasn't played much last year in this spring. He's had his best spring football, you know, since he's been here. And I think up front, you know, we're kind of keep trying to create the depth up front with the young guys. So.
All right, thanks so much. Larry, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Jess. And here we go with the second half. Often the second half goes by more quickly than the first. We'll see how that works out timing-wise.
Running clock is a running clock, Larry.
Except when it stops. Austin Harden, he's gotten all of the work so far. There's Chris Thompson. And again, one contact, and that's that. So we've gotten 2 kickoffs. But again, no full contact on the coverage. And we'll see how many Florida frontliners stay out there, and at what point we'll start seeing some of the walk-ons. We've seen a couple of guys who are walk-ons, but not a whole lot. This is, again, a team that needs to get better And as a result, a lot of the top guys seeing a lot of action. The quarterbacks have all been effective. You saw Driscoll at 125. The three quarterbacks combined for over 200 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns.
And you look up, the first unit comes out, and this time you get the tailback, Adam Lane.
Quick wide receiver screen to Fullwood. He won't get far. Brian Poole, the first on the tackle. Got some company there on the defensive side with Alex McAllister running out there from his defensive end spot. McAllister's a guy Will Muschamp has spoken highly of. Young sophomore, just developing physically into the kind of player that can have an impact. Driscoll fires into tight coverage, incomplete. Looked like Fullwood had it, but it came out. Again, good coverage from Jalen Tabor.
Well, that ball is thrown low and away down where only the receiver can catch the football. It would have been a great catch by Fullwood, but you know, whenever you're throwing where in traffic, you want to get the ball down. You don't want it tipped up for potential interceptions.
On third down. Some extra rushers coming in. Driscoll runs for his life. McAllister looks back at the referee. Said, "I shouldn't I get credit for the tackle?"
but it showed you the speed of McAllister.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, this is a defensive lineman, defensive end, and you know, he comes on the edge and just runs down the quarterback. And Jeff's a pretty good athlete. Let's take another look at it full speed. Now watch him come up, and you know, as quick as Adam got moved up to working with the first unit, the young man Lane, this might be, you know, you got to protect your quarterback. You can't just be a runner. You got to be able to pass protect as well if you're going to play.
Christie to punt, low line drive. Hits at the 36 and will roll another 9 or 10 yards. And that's the end of the first possession of the second half here in the orange and blue debut presented by Sunnyland.
That's similar to the first half. Wasn't the first unit 3 and out?
Yep. So we'll see.
Just got to get warmed up again.
That's what it takes?
Yes, got to get warmed up.
So from the 27, Morningweg is in at quarterback. Throws it to Thompson, went down to pick it up off the shoe tops and go forward to the 33-yard line. Got about 6. Keanu Neal, sophomore safety out of South Sumter High School in Bushnell. Earl Everett, remember Earl Everett, linebacker from 2008? Famous for the photo of him without a helmet chasing down Troy Smith in the 2006 championship game. No flags, and there's is this Duck Dynasty or what? The ball will fall incomplete as the ball wobbled inside the 40-yard line. Andrades was the intended receiver. Marcel Harris was there.
Well, I don't know exactly what happened to the football, but the one thing that I did see early on was Schuyler getting rid of the football, just coming back 5 steps, letting the ball go, and then next thing I know, it was sort of fluttering in the air, you know. But the timing of the throw looked good.
So it brings up third down. Need about 4. Quick pass is dropped by Thompson. And that will make it 4th down. So Christie will get another chance to kick it away. Kyle Christie is an interesting situation for the Gators. Last year averaged under 40 yards after averaging 45.8 as a sophomore, and they really need him to get back to giving them that field position advantage.
Yeah, you know, you were looking at picking up a first down on your opponent each and every time he kicked the football because of the strong leg, and as to what happened last year, no one knows.
Another low one. Catch is made. DeMarcus Robinson turns the corner, and then we get the obligatory whistle at the conclusion of the punt return. Sunnyland Corporation has been making fertilizer products to protect and grow your lawn since 1884. Available now at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, and Walmart. As the spring approaches, it's important to get your grass green and growing. Visit sunnylandcorp.com for all your lawn and garden tips. Made in Florida just for your Florida lawn and garden, Sunnyland. 34 yards on that punt. Christie averaging 42, which is about halfway between his sophomore and junior averages. Driscoll back in. Changed his mind on that throw as it looked like Duke Dawson was jumping that route, so he held on to the ball.
No. He had the big fella in front of him. Jay Nahard Boswick was in his face, and he pulled it down.
Boswick, 99. He's one of the guys, he and Caleb Brantley, they're looking for to provide some depth inside behind seniors Darius Cummings and Leon Orr. Orr injured, not playing in the spring game, but expected at full strength this fall. And a couple young bucks that could really provide Florida with some quality depth. That was thrown over the shoulder and incomplete, really not on target. Morrison was back in coverage as Tevin Westbrook.
Yeah, it looked like Westbrook was covered and forced to throw the ball behind him as he's running into coverage.
So after a very good first half for the offense, not so much early in this third quarter. As the running clock gets down inside 5.5 minutes. Driscoll steps up and fires, and incomplete. He's low and a little bit behind DeMarcus Robinson.
And this is just a coaching point, Larry. The defense dropped into an 8-man drop in coverage, and that time Driscoll had plenty of time to throw the football. He's got to set his feet and make a good throw. That time he tried to throw it on the run as he was still moving up and sideways. He had his target. He makes a good throw there. You've got a big play.
Not a good kick that time from Christie. On the run, Robinson picks it up and takes it forward for a couple of yards, and we have timeout here at the Swamp, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field at the Orange and Blue debut presented by Sunnyland. More coverage coming up after this timeout on Sun Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Orange and Blue game. It's a beautiful day at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I'm joined once again by Coach Will Muschamp. Will, a lot of explosive plays in the offense. How pleased are you with where they're at?
Well, I think we've progressed and gotten better every day. Our kids have had a great attitude, and I attribute a lot of that to Kurt Roper. He's a very positive coach, and the kids have really enjoyed playing for him.
Special teams had some issues last season. What have you seen from that unit today?
Well, Austin Harden's kicked the ball extremely well. I've been very pleased with the field goal situations. We wanted to create some of those today for him. We had one bad snap on the extra point. That wasn't on him.
Anything you'd like to see more out of the defense in the second half?
Well, I think tackle a little bit better. We play so much in space. We create space plays. You got to tackle well in space.
All right, thanks so much. Larry, up to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess. 4:30 on the clock here in the third quarter of the Orange and Blue debut presented by Sunnyland. Sunnyland fertilizer made in Florida just for your Florida lawn and garden. And we're looking at a first and 10 situation at the 35. First three offensive possessions have come up empty here in the second half.
Just some errant throws and, receivers not able to come down with the football. You're not going to always get a perfect throw as a wide receiver, so sometimes you've got to make your quarterback look good. And, Chris Thompson and a couple of receivers have had that opportunity here in the second half, but so far, nobody's been able to make a play.
Will Greer will get the next chance at quarterback for the offense to see what he can do as the youngster who came in here in January after a remarkable high school career. And we have seen already from him a very strong arm. He's 4 for 8 with an interception, but of his 4 incompletions, at least 2 were drops. Dan the stat man says 3. And that's a wide receiver guy. He doesn't think any.
No. The receivers have not done the young man a lot of justice here today. You know, as you alluded to, the first 2 passes he threw were perfectly thrown footballs that were dropped. You know, a guy that threw for nearly, 15,000 yards in high school and 195 touchdowns. So
I'm just looking at last year, 77 touchdown passes, and he ran for 13 more. A lot of counties don't score 90 touchdowns in a year, let alone a school, let alone a player. Nice play out in the left flat. Valdez Showers advances the chains and picks up a first down. Showers started at Florida as a DB, went to running back last year. Now he's a receiver, and I think this is a guy, if you get out in space, he can take it the distance.
Well, and that's why you see this bubble screen where they keep trying to get the ball into the receiver's hand. Get them used to catching the football and running with it. You know, that becomes an art. Once you master that, you find ways to get open and do something special after the catch. And
Ralph Andrade tried to sell the catch. They said he did not come up with it.
Not a good actor. But, you know, when you go back and you think about Showers last year, if my numbers are correct, he averaged about 8 yards every time he had the football in his hand. So, you know, he's the kind of guy that can make some big things happen if you get the ball in his hands.
You're way off. 7.6.
Oh, excuse me.
On second down. Running right side. And nice carry for Darius Maslin, walk-on running back for the Florida Gators. For the most up-to-date Nike gear and official Gator merchandise, be sure to stop by the Gator Sports Shop located in the north end zone of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Real Gators shop where real Gators play. The Gator Sports Shop, the official merchandise store of Florida Athletics.
And Larry, I think what we're seeing here is the experience of the offensive line. You got 6 guys that have played some football, and then you look at the youth of the defensive line as, you know, the offense has had their way with running the football most of the day.
Not on that play. Jordan Sherritt, the redshirt freshman from Tampa Hillsborough, with another nice play.
Oh, somebody forgot to tell him he was a redshirt freshman then.
Yeah, just overpowered Goolsby a little bit at the point of attack.
Freshman on freshman. Okay.
The red shirt beat true. And that brings up 4th down. They're going for it on 4th and 3. Minute and a half left in the 3rd quarter. And play clock may have expired.
False start.
False start.
Number 71.
Didn't see any movement, so I was guessing it might be the clock, but
4th down.
There must have been some movement. Somebody sneezed. Well, now it's 4th and long. Maybe they'll punt it away. Who knows?
Well, one good thing about today, you haven't seen many procedure penalties, haven't seen many offsides or guys illegal motion. So, you know, a pretty clean football game from that standpoint.
1 penalty in the secondary and 2 false starts, and I think that's been it. No holding, no personal fouls. Greer fires. He's got his man inside the 40. Thompson's got a first down.
Now that was a long throw, Larry, but the ball got there in a hurry. Thompson's able to catch the football, turn up field, and pick up another 3 or 4 yards before he's pushed out of bounds. Just shows you the cannon that Greer possesses.
It's fun to watch a young quarterback with a strong arm come in and see how he's going to develop. He's got he certainly, as they say, can make all the throws. Zips that one. What a nice throw and catch. And they're making the catch for the Florida Gators, number 44. That's Roger Dixon, a wide receiver out of Sanford Seminole.
And Marcel Harris gets out in the lane of the throw, but watch the ball go up and over his head. And it gets there in such a hurry that the receiver, Dixon,